Oh boy, do we not have a doozy. The entire gang is back together yet again. We're breaking down Phoenix Rising's game that featured not 1, not 2, not 3, but 9 combined goals. Let's talk about it here. PHX Rising in 30. Let's go. Oh, yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising Podcast. Appreciate everyone joining us here on a Wednesday. We're getting into the second day of July in style. We've got the entire crew back together yet again after their various Mr. and Mr. Vacations. I am, of course, not Mr. Vacations. I am the one who's ever present on this beat. I am, of course, Bad Man Max Simpson, of course.
I don't believe this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Rees, do you believe this?
No, Max is going on
Damon,
vacation next
do you
week.
believe this?
Ooh, my right.
He's not Mr.
On
Vacations.
your left on the screen, we have...
I can't argue with the results. I'll be honest.
Thank you.
Who's the most recent to go on a vacation?
Well, we'll get to Mr. Vacations in a second, but
who's second most recent?
Don't go with that recency
formerly known
bias.
as Mr. Vacations.
Don't go with that recency bias, though, Damon. You know, I mean, you might think things like, you know, you might think that the body of work. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, it's a body of work.
Oh, and the Oracle Evans, how we doing?
Yeah, we're here. There's football, and yeah,
always the enthusiastic
Joyful.
one, and of course we're joined by Mr. Vacations himself, Mr. Rees, the stat lackey, Goodall.
Glizzy Guzzler.
Yep.
Good. I didn't miss that.
Hot dog heaver.
Didn't miss that either. At all.
The Frankfurter Funneler.
I want to go back.
And of course, we
The
have
sausage swallow. Before he threw him up again, apparently.
Yeah.
I'd agree, by the way, with the chatting about this Guatemala game. And we should mention the super chat.
Yes, of course, we do have Damon Dog behind the macro. This is the OG crew. Of course, we got to start off, William, with the $5 super chat. Evening, PHNX crew. After the U.S. dominates Guatemala 2-1. It's funny, we
wouldn't call it domination.
Yeah, you know, we got our opinions on that. We were actually watching that right as we came into the ball. Let's start with that. It is fresh. U.S. defeats Guatemala in the semifinals, going on to the finals of the Gold Cup.
To play for Mexico or Honduras, subject to a game which kicks off 7 o'clock Arizona time.
Gentlemen, the U.S. team, how we think?
A win's a win. Knockout football. You get through. Any means possible. And that's what we saw. Because it was bad for a lot of it. But Diego Luna saved our lives
Diego
twice.
Luna, I will say, is a heck of a player. Someone saw it was I saw on a Twitter streets. It's Diego Luna, Clint Dempsey, but shorter and more tatted. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I kind of love that a lot.
They're both dogs.
They are. They're not a Damon dog, but you know they're there.
I knew you were gonna say that, Max. I want to.
We got it, man. What do you think, Owen?
I just don't think it was that good, was it?
You don't think they're
ones
going to win the
where-
World Cup next year?
No.
Not
I feel as though the thing about it is it started with the US on the front foot so clearly. And if they'd have played like they did in that first 20 minutes for, say, the remainder of the half, they could have gone in 3 or 4 up. But they didn't. And honestly, for large spells of that game, it felt like if Guatemala had just, that little bit of extra quality in there, that they would have gone in maybe a goal behind, and had something to build on at that point. And really, if they were playing a better team today, the US, I don't think, wins that game. Based on the fact that they just kind of collapsed after going 2-0 up and invited so much pressure, and ultimately not really convinced, I think, by the performance. And if they go on to play against Mexico, as we all kind of expect, maybe they'll be upset by Honduras. Who knows? Maybe we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves on that one. But if they were to fall in that game, to actually succeed in that game, it wouldn't shock me if they come out and beat the US in the final.
We got the chat. They're chatting about. We love it. Devinall, Potchball, Rybell in the chat. Luna was awesome. Kevin saying Potch wanted to quit the US for Brentford. Sounds like quite the demotion for me. And going back, Pat, we're bringing us on with. So you're saying that US did a rising?
I am saying that the CONCACAF Media Hub is currently down as I'm trying to load up the lineups for the next game.
Fair.
Congratulations, CONCACAF. Thank you.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. I mean, I don't know. It's we've said before, right?
I will also can I say on this to Kevin's comment here? It's CONCACAF, not many better teams. You're right, but I think the thing for me then is this is something that often seems to follow through when you get into major tournaments like the World Cup, whereby it kind of frames US fans' expectations. And I think you're right in that there aren't that many better teams per se in CONCACAF. Although I will say I think Costa Rica were a little bit better at times. Like, they were better than Guatemala were in this game. And I actually think if you'd have played for the length of time that you did in the way that you did today in this game against Costa Rica, you'd have probably lost that game.
Yeah,
to me,
I wouldn't disagree.
They're a team that we've seen put goals away, I think, a lot more comfortably than say Guatemala has. I just as I look at it, I kind of think, there's a lot of work to go there. I know it's not the US's best team. I know this isn't really the team that they're going to put out come World Cup time. But if they look anything like this, then I get the feeling that the home World Cup party may be cut quite short.
I don't disagree. I think especially when you are. This is no disrespect to Guatemala, but I mean, right? There's clearly a gap in quality, even with the U.S. not turning up nowhere near their first team. Although, right, there are a handful of guys on this squad who certainly would figure to either, if not crack the starting 11, be major minutes players at the World Cup. I mean, you got to be able to, crush a team, right? You're seeing that when it's a 2-0 in the first half, Diego Luna is doing his thing. You figure, okay, you add a third one, surely it's over. You don't, and you let a team like that, you give them enough chances. The good ones, or even the somewhat competent ones, they're going to put one in the back, and that's what we saw against Guatemala. I mean, Rees, this is not something we've seen, from, not the first time we've seen this from the U.S. men's national team.
I mean, I think such a big issue for the U.S. men's national team is in this Gold Cup is Patrick Agyemang up top in the most polite way possible. He's just not the striker for this team at really any stage. And
you're not a big fan of his, are you?
No, but I mean, there were a few moments watching this game where I was a bit skeptical, is one way to describe my feelings. Passing, not great. Finishing, not great. He gets into good positionings, as we were saying with Damon before the show. But if that's really what your main quality is that you're complimenting as a striker, you got some big issues. And I think with a better striker, I think this team's in a better spot.
Rees, he scored against Trinidad and Tobago and Haiti.
I see at least Jesus Ferreira, he captured all the Caribbean. He was the true pirate of the Caribbean, but
he was to be fair. Well, to be fair, they're the only two island nations you've played in this Gold Cup. Because the other teams are Saudi, Costa Rica, and Guatemala.
Saudi's not in the Caribbean?
Funnily enough.
I thought they were...
Funnily enough.
Just off the coast of the Bahamas.
They are courtesy, I'm sure, of the PIF, an honorary member of the islands. At least according to CONCACAF this time. But
yeah, I'm afraid we lost Max.
Yeah, that was geography. That's something. Devinall in chat. Oh, Florin Balogun, better.
I don't think anyone's questioning that.
No, I don't think so at all. Yeah. The U.S.
I take Max Simpson up top.
That's official on the pod.
He's won a golden boot.
He's clip that. Boot. Get it in there.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, but I'm not Mauricio Pochettino, so
that's also
doesn't really matter.
That's also fair. You haven't managed the biggest club in the world, like Spurs.
Chelsea?
No. Stop. Oh, stop.
Look at that.
PSG?
The media hub's working again. Thank you, CONCACAF.
Who do we, so anyone out from let's see, Mexico thinking to win? Yeah.
What do we think, Rees?
I'd say Mexico.
Let's have a look. How many changes to their lineup compared to their pretty
listening to the PHNX Gold Cup
comfortable. That's kind of where we're going with this, apparently.
We're starting off.
Let's see.
It's relevant.
Was this?
It's relevant. We're starting off with it. Yeah. Yeah, I think Mexico. And okay, you fancy US over Mexico in the final if it comes to that?
No.
I don't think. I mean, yes, I actually do. That's
Whoa.
I'm cutting a long story short because, I mean, the 2021 Gold Cup was a very similar story where the U.S. didn't have that great of a squad out. I don't think it was as dire as this one, but Mexico put out a near first team in that tournament, met in the final, and it was a very, very gutsy performance from the U.S. to win that one in Vegas. And I think with the U.S.-Mexico game, it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. That's why I back the U.S. in a U.S.-Mexico final.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think I've seen enough from this US
I can
team
get on board with that part too.
In this tournament. It's not that Mexico are necessarily one of the better teams as well, they are in CONCACAF, but that speaks more to the volume of CONCACAF. They have their struggles.
St. Lucia, isn't that good?
Funnily enough. It is what it is to a large degree, but I just look at this performance, I think, so far from the US, and they've just been very unconvincing to me throughout, to the point that I just don't quite feel as though if they take on Mexico that they'll get the job done. I mean, at the same time, Mexico against Saudi Arabia wasn't necessarily their most convincing performance in that game either.
That's true.
But then Saudi offered nothing. They just sat back and defended and tried to defend in that way. Yeah. Closed down spaces, forced to play outside. And the problem is, as soon as they conceded, I mean, they took one shot all game, and they conceded right at the start of the second half and didn't take a shot after that point. So
that's fair.
Kind of tells you about the quality of the opposition they were facing.
Yeah, Devin All, at least he's saying 2-0 USA for the US women's team right now over Canada, currently in a friendly.
It's a friendly, yeah.
And you know what? Don't matter. At least the U.S. women's national team, by and large, they're gonna help save.
It's a friendly.
Hey man.
I don't care about a friendly.
Hey. Scoreboard. Right. Well,
Max, here's the thing, right? So I'm wearing this, by the way, because it is the women's Euro now.
Yeah.
Off over in Switzerland, of course, Wales playing. You've gone for the non-women's option there in your jersey.
I wouldn't say I've gone for it. It was just...
There's no stars on there.
Well,
I see
interesting.
that. It's a choice.
That's quite fascinating.
See, this is a women's specific. Only the women are wearing this.
Well, you're an ally.
We back women in sport in this pod. We back women in sport on this.
It's also not Kit Thursday, in fairness. It's Wednesday, so I can see where
now
Max
you're just
is
acting like the
confusing.
guy who didn't wear a kit.
Yeah, I made a game time decision.
Well, that's fine. He's not taking a stance either way.
Yeah.
In his clothing choices.
No one else on this pod is taking a stance either
way.
way.
Well, this specifically because the women's Euros
Okay, that's awesome.
Max, July 13th, I think it
one
is.
of the
Who you rooting
it's
for?
one of the
England or
few
Wales,
US
Max?
kits I have.
We all
so
know
that's
that England are the
Max, who are you rooting for? England or
enemy
Wales?
of everyone. He's got to go for Wales. You can't support England. It would just be wrong.
Well, on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about Phoenix Rising.
No.
5-4 victory in the brand redacted top. Don't go anywhere. Oh, man. Whew. That was a tough one. Sometimes, right, you want to just be able to, you're trying to get out of situations, conversations, like bets, You're betting your friends. It doesn't go according to what you play. And you're thinking, oh, you lost a bet. I want you to be able to pay me.
Hang
out.
on a minute. Reese, I bet you that Max is going to chicken out of giving an answer. But we're both on the same side in that one, so it won't work.
Well, I guess you could, in that situation, use VMe. VMe is the first of its kind person-to-person betting app. Finally, there is a way where you can bet with anyone, anything, anytime. They're proud to be partnering with PHNX and launching just it's a fun way to easily bet your friends, whether either for money or without money, and just make that transaction so simple. Again, we could have done this. This would have been perfect for, like I was mentioning, the hot dog helpers challenge, where, hey, will Reese eat more or less, than 9.5 hot dogs within a 10-minute span? And clearly he was like, oh, absolutely.
I had one on my trip.
Oh, he's back.
He did it.
Yeah. Hot dogs are so bad.
Hot dogs have never been more bad.
You've already told us you were going to run it back.
They have never been more guzzled.
You're going to run it back.
We're going to run it back.
He's in training right now. This boy is training up, and he's going to run it back.
I'm training like Harvey Neville.
For the diehards?
We're gonna
at one point.
Yeah. Well,
Can we hang on a minute? I think We'll get to this later, actually. Come on, you finish the ads.
Okay. Well, when we do that next, we'll make sure that we'll put in our bets with Vimy. It's all the fun. Again, all this podcast, as you know, there's tons of shenanigans we can get into. So, yeah, of course, download the Vimy app and play today using the code PHNX. Use the code PHNX when you download the Vimy app. It's available on the App Store or Google Play. Vimy, anyone, anything, anytime. Get in on the fun today with our friends over at Vimy. Also, check out our friends over at Shady Rees. Shady Rees, I don't know if you guys realize, it's pretty bright out. It's a little hot. Shady Rees, use that promo code PHNX for 35% off your order on polarized sunglasses. Again, I've said this before, it's rated 5 stars or better by over 300,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people who have rated Shady Rees. 300,000 people. I'm assuming 600,000 eyeballs.
Again, how do you rate them better than 5 stars? I want to hear this. Tell me, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly it's better than 3 out of 4. And I would say that that's clearly what a 5-star. I'm a 5-star man. 5 stars.
It's 5 or more.
Huh?
5 or more.
Yeah, I mean, I throw in an extra 6, a 6-star because I can, because that's how good Shady Rees is. I have the kind of
the
Max
can't count.
I have like the Aviator-esque glasses. They also have the ones where I have like a little tinted blue. Like it looks incredibly nice. They're generally, I found a different pair of sunglasses the other day, and I'm like, oh man, I can't find my Shady Rees. I thought I was going to have to use their loss and replacement policy, which is, by the way, best in class. And I wore these knockoff sunglasses for just a minute, and I'm like,
Max, you'd never wear a knockoff of
these
anything, mate.
Horrible.
You'd never wear a knockoff of anything.
Never. These are they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. But then I found my Shady Rees, my sweet Shady Rees, and they were absolutely so much better. Made my day. Shady Rees again. This sunglasses rated 5 stars or better by 300,000 people. Get them today. Promo code PHNX, 35% off your order.
Might be a record for the longest ad break in.
It's Max Simpson. What
I
do
don't
you
know about
expect?
the
Right, here's the
Max
plan.
is washed.
Here's the plan.
Jacob,
I feel
Jacob,
like this
sorry,
needs to
not sorry,
happen.
bro.
Right. Come, say like September, October time. I'm making this plan now.
Oh boy.
Reese is going to run it back. I think what we do, unlike before when we like actually made the hot dogs ourselves and it was a bit of a disaster, we're not going to do that. I've got a plan that we go to a certain location where you can get cheap hot dogs, and we're going to do those.
What location?
Well, I'm not going to say it because
Please
Max will
don't
kill
say
me
433 night at Phoenix Rising.
No.
Stadium.
I'm not that cruel.
Okay.
I'm not that cruel. We're not making you eat rising dogs. Don't worry.
We'll give you the quality hot dogs.
I won't.
From Circle K.
I won't. You're not going to get 10 of them, are you?
I'll get 10 hot dogs.
Max is making some calls.
I'll get 10
Max
hot dogs.
knows people.
I'll get 10
Max
hot-
knows people. It could happen.
Okay.
Max,
First
what's your
off-
predictions for
first off,
Friday, though?
Sorbet
The
hot
hot dog
dogs
contest.
are not only delicious, but also very
Affordable.
Very affordable. And also, I don't need to get 10. Reese can't even get through 2.
No, but in case he can, you need to have them there.
There's like 2.5.
Dude, I'll bring 5, and I'll have
But
4
this time
extra.
he's not gonna do the water dunking thing, which killed him.
Yeah.
Like I think he could have made. I think he could have made. To be
leaving this
fair,
man's face.
if he didn't do the dunk the bun thing and make himself heave, I think he could have gotten to like 6 maybe.
I think so. I can agree
I think he
with
could have
that
done
plan.
6, and that wouldn't have been good, but it would have been a lot more respectable than the 2 that he got.
2.5.
Would you agree, Damon? No, we don't count halves. You have to finish the whole.
I'm with you.
Like, I think you'd have put up a number where you're like, you know what? You had a big mouth, but fine. I'll accept
Kevin
that.
in the
I know
chat, over-unders 3. Reese fell flat last year. It was like Mike Tyson versus Logan Paul. Reese got a big struggle. Arsenal fan and the worst Gleasley with his side of the Mississippi.
Monarchist is tough.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
What are your thoughts on that, Owen? You're, a fellow monarchist in your side.
I don't think that's quite true, is it now?
Rising, huh?
Dear gosh, Phoenix Rising.
See, Max is just over here like, why are you talking about Real Salt Lake's reserve team, boys?
Oh,
Like, why are we talking about the Monarchs?
wow, that's actually quite a turn. Phoenix Rising involved in a 9-goal. I don't know if it's a thriller. It was certainly something.
You watched it in detail, Reese. I was at the
did.
Gold Cup. Tell me more.
Over the full Texoma.
I don't know how to feel about it. You concede 4 against Texoma. You let Lamin Jaune score.
A goat now.
Oh yeah,
They
absolutely.
he gave him the team
Lamin
top.
Jaune.
He gave him the team
that was
top.
awful.
That guy, I mean, again, sorry, I can't understate this fact. No offense, Lamin. You're the worst.
Yeah,
You're the
because
worst player I've ever
Rip
seen
on
play
you
for this team.
for 30 plus minutes of last week's
I
pod, but
just-
no offense.
He's the worst player I have ever seen play for this team in the Phoenix Rising era,
Yeah,
without exception.
I'll never forget him dribbling the ball over the byline versus Louisville. It was just the most mental thing I've ever seen in my life. But
He's terrible.
he scored.
And that says something to me. When we said this is the funniest thing now is like getting messages after obviously the comments we made on Lamin Jaune, the comments I made on Lamin Jaune last week, and then people see
How
hang on a
mean
minute,
were you to him? I
Lamin
didn't
Jaune
listen.
scored.
Yeah, you wrote his team
And,
talk.
How mean were we? You didn't watch, did you?
No.
I think I said when he was like players to watch, I said Lamin Jaune because if he's starting, Rising's got no excuses.
Yeah,
You did say that. That is a.
he's
quotable.
fast. I'll give that to him. He was very fast, and
Congratulations.
that's
He's a
exactly how he
track star.
scored. Versus,
I mean, I mean, we watched him for how long at Phoenix Rising when he came in?
I think it was like
7 games he played.
yeah.
It wasn't much, but he wasn't good.
No.
Yeah, damn. Nobody provides very good insightful crash outs. Maybe that's Rees. I don't know. James Wilson.
It was a
talking about the
defensive
goalkeeping
shambles
situation.
that game.
Triston Henry not knowing what to do. I mean,
It's not all
he
on
did not.
Henry.
I don't
is
think
the
so. I think
thing.
this was the definition of a chaos match. But I think you even look at the goals that Phoenix Rising conceded. I think in particular, from going off top of my head, I think it was the second and third ones. Just abysmal man marking. I mean, you're talking the second one, a ball over the top, goes for the header, ends up getting flicked on, and there's no one in behind. You can't have such a free run in off of a header like that, where it's from I don't know if it was a goal kick or a free kick, but it was that's inexcusable.
Yeah.
That is inexcusable. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care who is missing from international competition. Like, you cannot let that happen on any level. That is literally the textbook information. And the one to me that was even more interesting on a throw in, I think for the third goal was it, you can literally see one of the wingers from Texoma straight up there. He's in space hugging the sideline, and he just motions with the throw it there, throws it, little one-touch flick-on goal. It's the little things where, again, especially against that quality competition, it's not like Phoenix Rising was like, oh, like, man, they completely, were outclassed. It was just they shut off. They shut off multiple times that game.
All right, I'm going to let Rees in a minute go on about his thoughts on the midfield. But there's a couple of other players I kind of want to touch on from this game who I don't think played well. I will say on the Henry thing, I think you're right in that if you ask me, did Triston Henry at any point go above, like, it felt like at times the bare minimum, to be honest, in terms of as a goalkeeper in this game? Did he make big saves where you thought, okay, fine, he's contributing here, and the poor guy was just left on an island? No. And yet then at the same time, I'll also say, let's look at the defense. Carl Saint looked, I think, rusty, still coming off of the Gold Cup, barely playing at the Gold Cup. But it looked like the Carl Saint that we'd seen start to emerge at the centre-back position since he was moved back there from the midfield, where he was given that, you got that bit more time on the ball. Didn't feel like the Carl Saint that we watched in that game. And it's not that I think Carl Saint's been an amazing centre-back in that spell, but he looked more comfortable. He looked like he had a role to do. I think we were seeing a Carl Saint that looked more like the Carl Saint at the start of the season, when a lot of people had questions about what really, his level of play was going to be at, to be honest here. I think Braxton Montgomery, it's been 2 rough games in a row for the kid.
Yeah.
He's young. We need to remember that. And I think there's still a point where you look at, Braxton, and people will say, oh, he's really good. And I wonder how much of that, it's not that he's a bad player. He is a good player, right? Especially for his age, when you consider that.
Sure.
But he's going to have games where he's not necessarily at the levels that you want him to be at. He's not necessarily a natural centre-back, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he's a bit better at left-back than he is at centre-back. And even then, I would say that his position in the academy has been as a defensive midfielder, right? So we do have to take that consideration when we look at this. But at the same time, I wonder if there's also just been a bit of some good performances early in the season, kind of lead to that little bit of hype, and yeah.
I mean, I think it's a player of that age, right? I mean, you can see that a lot of the times, right? The ceiling is very high. He has turned in some really good performances. I actually think he has a pretty, like, the floor is certainly not bottom. I think it's actually relatively high for guys' age and for the lack of playing experience having previously. But I think you're going to have some inconsistencies as you're adjusting to a multitude of things, right? You're playing in a bit of a different position. You're playing, significant starting minutes and consistently starting minutes for a club that, again, has had a lot of rotation and who's trying to find, their best starting 11 as well. It's a lot of things in flux. And when you're kind of thrown in where you haven't been a stabilizing force, such as in a hypothetical, like a different position, right? But like a Charlie Dennis, where it's okay, you're able to come in, you kind of have an idea of what to expect on a match by match basis. Can he struggle? Sure he can, but you at least have a better full understanding of what he's bringing to the table on a game by game basis.
No one comment in there. It's actually a really good question. I don't have an answer for you on where is Alex Araneda. Not named in the availability report, but not in matchday squads for a little bit now.
I feel like that's kind of been the story of his tenure, though. Because there were quite a few. I know he's
early
hurt,
on, though. That was the thing, and I know it feels as though there's an element of you could have brought him in at times and they haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like between him and Harvey Neville, two guys that just are there but not there in a lot of ways.
I mean, on Braxton, though, I really do think the best performances we've seen out of him, which has gotten him the hype around him, has been at left back, because I do think he is so good on the ball. And as Kevin mentions in the chat, he is quite small. Like, for a center back, he's not the biggest guy in the world. I don't know his exact height, but he you can kind of see that sometimes. You kind of saw that in this Texoma game where Texoma players are just a little bit taller and a little bit more physical, and they're getting their way with them. I also think in that Texoma game that JP Skeers didn't have the best of his games in a rising shirt, and I think it's more down to the profile that JP Skeers is. He obviously wins his duels. He obviously wins his tackles. He does that frequently. That's what we know. And he's a very defensive-minded six. But there were a few times in this game where he was tracking back, marking a player, and then just loses a player. And Texoma nearly, or did at times, take advantage of it. And then on the first goal, he loses the ball so poorly. I can't remember exactly how he gets it, but he gets it deep in Texoma's own half and tries to do something with it and just loses it poorly. Texoma burst out like that, and I really think that's just kind of a bit of an underlying issue with Rising at the moment, is that from their six and JP Skeers, they don't have much progression. They don't have much quality passes coming from him. It's just pure defensive abilities, what he brings to the table.
James Wilson Chaz, maybe ought to say, maybe not sure, but like Renzo Zambrano back in the middle. I mean, yeah, listen, I think a lot of people maybe thought he was less of the dynamic player towards the beginning part of his Rising tenure, but I think, right, captain ended up turning out to be one of the more consistent players for Rising, especially in that midfield.
I think the thing about it is he was a very physical presence in
100%.
the midfield. But
100%.
again, it was, and we've said this when you paired Renzo Zambrano with, say, Jose Hernandez. That midfield didn't work because they were both the kind of guys that weren't really going to give you a lot going forward from the midfield. And so Rising tended to stall out a lot in those 100%. Moments, okay? Renzo Zambrano alone was perfect.
Whereas the makeup of midfield we've seen put out from Rising this season could not be more different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like how poor old Kevin here is getting a vocabulary lesson. He's getting down with the kids in the chat.
Oh, boy.
Well done, Kevin.
Anyway, outside, we talked a bit about some players who maybe didn't have the best match. How about some who had a redemption performance? I mean, there's a clear favorite here.
I didn't watch the Charleston game, so who had a bad game that redeemed themselves?
No, he's just saying who was good.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie Dennis, obviously. Okay, I didn't get the redemption part. That's
it's a weird bit of phrasing from my side.
Anyway,
the classic Simpson.
Oh wait, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, 2 goals or 3 goals, 2 of which were penalties and assists.
Even those aside.
Yeah. Weirdly, his Opta just keeps going down in terms of chance creation. It was 6, then it went to 5, now it's 4. But he was really, really good in the final third. I think the whole right side as a whole really did a good job just early in the game, especially. I mean, you saw how Rising won the first penalty. Colin Smith just drove with it. Him,
Crazy
Charlie
shot.
Dennis, Zion Emmers, they really had some nice combination play on the right side to build up. Dennis in the half space, it finally feels like what we've meant to see with him, which we really haven't the last year with him because he's playing deeper. He's missed time due to injury.
Yep.
This feels like it's finally the full potential coming out for Charlie
I think
Dennis.
even on the assist too, just like you kind of see like it's a big crowd in the box and just the presence of mind. That's very veteran instinct too. Almost, we've even seen it from like a drill where on occasion it's the instinct is to be, let me go get the ball out of my feet. Let me, take a additional touch and then whip it across. Whereas he takes a little second, kind of sees the situation and he just plays a nice looping ball, perfect header into the back post by Darius Johnson. That is something where you either have that kind of ability to slow the game down or you don't. And again, we've seen it again, as noted from Joe Margarita before. It has been very cool to see Charlie Dennis. Let's see if he can bring that into this attack. Anything else from this match we want to highlight?
Should we have a listen to what Pa said about it?
Let's do it.
I think they know what I thought. For the fans, I think it was a wonderful game. For a head coach, it was a headache. But it's all right. We live and we learn. Full credit and respect to Texoma. We should never allow 4 goals, but we did, and we've rectified it through conversations with the players. But coming back and scoring 5 goals, that's what I'm pleased with, because I think we've been due to score those goals. But conceding, I was not happy with it.
Yeah, listen, you got to be able to, like we talked about, you got to be able to put teams away like that. There's things here and there. There's always going to be some individual performances, but teams got to step up. Let's see, William in the chat, $2 super chat. Thank you again, William. Breaking news: U.S. women's national team beats Canada 3-0. Hey, we love to see. I mean, honestly, U.S. men's national team could have been playing Canada. Would we have gotten the double? Would they have held up their end of the bargain? Because U.S. women's national team. Listen, man.
Jesse Marsh is a fraud, so
oh boy, U.S. women's national team.
What about Pops,
lot of new faces in the mix, but cool to see.
Marsh is more.
Play some new faces. We like that. We like that. Anything else on this match? Phoenix Rising currently sitting right about in the middle.
Rees
of
seems
the
so
table.
much more confident than I am that they're going to actually have a good chance.
I
if they
do.
win in El Paso.
Well, I've got a whole
qualifying for the next round.
spreadsheet.
But it's so so go on, tell me, because the key thing is they can only have like one result go not their way. How many games are we talking that kind of need to go their way?
It's okay.
It's like 3 or 4 or 5 need to go their way as well.
Yeah, it's like
It's quite a lot. It's like 3 or 4 at least.
it's 4, yeah.
4. They need 4 games to go their way. I don't
5
see
actually, sorry.
I'm as much as I understand, right? And Rising are gonna have to go out there and go to win and give themselves the best chance of getting through. However, here's what we know: even if they get through, they will be on the road for the first knockout round, the quarterfinals. Because of the format of this competition, it will be a draw, and they will have the 6 teams that are group winners will be drawn. They will, 2 of them are going to host the people who are the wild cards that get through, and then the other 4 teams get drawn against each other, and then it's a pure open draw from that point onwards for the semis and the final. But I mean, you go out and do your best, but I just think that you're asking too much from other games in that one to go your way. Is my point more there?
I'd agree, but
You've still got to go out there and go for the win and see where the cards lie. Because what you don't want to do is say, "Fine, we're not through," and then realize that you actually could have gone through if you'd have won that
your
game.
tune. Oh,
What? No, I'm saying that the likelihood they go through is minimal.
yeah, that's fair.
But it's not 0, which is all that matters.
You're saying there's a chance.
You have 1 shot at glory in the Jägermeister Cup. I mean,
The Jägermeister Cup?
the Jägermeister. We didn't say that enough.
Wait,
I
what
feel
was
like.
it called?
Okay,
The
we don't-
Jägermeister
we don't-
Cup.
It's like the USL's Carabao Cup.
Okay,
The Carabao Cup. Or like how it's the
Has-
Emirates FA Cup.
has 0 relevance.
That's the biggest trophy in the world.
It's huge. I mean, yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
sorry. I thought you were talking about the Emirates
Yeah.
Cup.
Ah,
That's the
fair
biggest trophy in the world.
Circle K. Just want to put that out there. All right. Well, that's enough. That's enough of this cup. On the other side of the break, we will preview Phoenix Rising's upcoming matchup on Independence Day. Don't go anywhere. Well, up until these
No,
guys
I don't know, Max.
to put a lid on it, if you know what I mean. You could put a lid on it yourself with our friends at Branded Bills. Branded Bills, they got glorious hats, right? There's one right behind me. It's nice, because it's a Branded Bills hat. Not particularly my team that I'd support. There's also one above Rees. Rees might support that. That's cool. They do have U of A custom hats as well as ASU. Don't do that. As well as U of A, ASU, Phoenix Suns hats. They also came up with
you love the partners.
They also came up with a whole lineage of new hats for all different universities throughout the nation. It's amazing.
It's a partner. Put it on, Max.
Damon is wearing the hat as well. All different schools throughout the nation, right? They have Ohio State, they have Texas, they have all these different great styles.
Max, you're from Tucson.
Then I am. The nice moisture wicking headband in there.
You know what,
nice
Max?
little
Give us a
panel
demonstration. Actually put it on your head.
See, there you go.
No, put it on your head.
I can do what I want.
Max,
Go
I
to
support you. Do what you want.
brandonbills.com. Use
Don't let the
promo
partners
code
down. Put it on.
BBPHNX for
Don't let the partners
15%
down.
off
Do you
your
want to let the
order. Again,
partners down? Put it on.
brandonbills.com, BBPHNX.
Do use that code BBPHNX
For 15% off your first order. Look
Put it
good
on your
today
head,
with our
Max.
friends over at Branded Bills. Something that
Put
makes
it on your head. Wear the hat.
Something that makes me, not lose my head is my friends over at Chicken and Pickle. Chicken and Pickle, listen, it has pickleball. That's where the pickle comes in, but
Is it
also,
now? Okay,
but also
good.
here's the thing:
Good to
a
know.
place that does pickleball. The fact that it has the chicken in there, their food must be pretty darn good. Well, I can assure you it is. I've had the burgers, I've had the chicken sandwiches.
Match up with you, Max. You chicken. You won't put the hat on.
That's kind of crazy.
Max, I was talking the other day in the office about chicken and pickle. I started doing what they do because it was so good. They brine their chicken
I
in
can see you
pickle
being a briner.
juice. It is unbelievable stuff.
Big brine guy.
Great
Absolutely.
food.
It's good to know.
Chicken and
Good
Pickle
to
out in
know.
Glendale. We actually have announced our new golf tournament. If you go over to gophnx.com and click on our events page, we have a tournament later this July. Check out Chicken and Pickle. So much fun. We're going to be there. Prizes, all of that great stuff. Again, Chicken and Pickle. Check out the fun, our golf tournament later this month. gophnx.com/events to register today.
You beat Max in whatever it is.
That's crazy.
He's not very good at these things, so
That's crazy. We're back.
you can absolutely beat Max in a competition. I think. Wouldn't you agree?
You
He's
never
got
played
two
me.
bad shoulders.
That's-
Pickleball
It's
requires
actually not
you to
true.
use
That's
your
actually not true. Actually,
I mean, to be fair,
I'm more than hold my
here's the
own.
thing, Max. What's the tournament again?
What?
What's the tournament again, Max?
There's a pickleball tournament?
Wasn't he saying it was a golf tournament?
No.
Yeah, you definitely said
You
that.
said
that.
it multiple times.
You did.
He doesn't even know what
Oh, man,
tournament. The
that's
man
crazy.
doesn't even know what sports he's playing right
See,
now.
yeah, that means I definitely don't trust
Just
him. He's
that.
going to
So
show up
lost.
with
Just
his
that.
driver.
Real quick.
I will say Max is
Golf
pretty good at pickleball.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you.
Yeah, but not if he shows up with golf clubs.
True. And cleats.
Yeah, I mean,
He's there with his putter, just trying to make magic.
I mean, I've seen people do worse. Well,
yeah, you look like your man in front of goal.
that's crazy. Well, anyway, I just dropped it in the
I'm sorry, I
chat.
had
Again,
to-
the
I had
pickleball
to
tournament. Pickleball tournament, July.
Stop stumbling over that
26th.
one as well. But
No, I was doing it for emphasis. Saturday, July 26th.
don't do that
Someone
voice
cut him
again.
off.
That's
Saturday, July
really
26th.
weird.
That's where it is. Dropped in the chat. Join us. Be there. Be square. Don't be Owen Evans. All right. Phoenix Rising playing back in league form. Lexington SC. The notes on Lexington, not great.
Yeah, but they're getting better.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, yeah?
They've kind of figured out the form. I mean, the last two wins, they've maintained almost nothing of the ball. I mean, it's been, I believe, under 35% possession both times. And that was a win against New Mexico. And that's kind of the same formula Rising used to beat them. And then a win against Switchbacks, both 2-1. So, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to kind of continue that momentum into this one where they're just going to have none of the ball, go forward 2 times and score, which means Rising are going to have to be clinical and really break down Lexington when they have the ball, which has been issues at times, but I still back this Rising team. If Margarita's back, Mr. Aura.
Mr. Aura, yeah. Lexington, on the surface, it was a bit too east for me to be in the West. Just gonna,
Yeah, because
gonna-
USL didn't do a good job
just
of
gonna
choosing the
just gonna throw that out there.
conferences.
I'm just
did
gonna
they?
throw that
Yeah,
out there.
but I mean,
I disagree. They're also not the East. They are more East than some teams in the Eastern Conference.
is it Birmingham?
Well-
in like Detroit, probably. I don't.
Geography lesson.
few.
I have no.
Part 2.
there's a
PHX
few.
Rising podcast.
There is a few. I mean, let's also point out the fact that they are also east of Louisville.
More geography talk. Max is going to fall asleep over there.
Me?
I know, the man can't keep up.
What you mean?
They are indeed.
Yeah, but can you imagine Louisville?
Let's look at
in the
this.
West?
They're east of Birmingham.
Oh, no. We're
The
very
east of
thankful.
Louisville.
Very
They're least of Indy. They are... No, they're slightly west of Detroit.
I mean, I'd rather have Lexington than Louisville and Indy in my conference. I know that's a...
I agree, but to me, I'd have actually said it probably should have been Legion, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that close to teams now from their position. And ultimately, their neighbor, their rival was Memphis, and Memphis moved across to the west. And again, I know Memphis is west of Birmingham, but still.
Rest in peace, Memphis.
Geography lesson over.
As we know, Max enjoys clubs that no longer exist in USL Championship, like Reno, 1868.
They said it, not me.
They're apparently
There's
coming
bingo.
back.
Put on your bingo.
I don't know.
They
It's
coming
just
back?
all the time.
No, they're not.
Could Reno come back?
I think they're trying to build a stadium.
Max Simpson, could
I mean,
Reno come back?
Yeah, they're doing it in a south.
Max, what do you think
Reno.
about the city of Reno?
What do you think about the city of Reno? It's fine. I got nothing. I got no hate on the city of Reno. You know what's crazy? You know what's
He doesn't
crazy?
sound convinced.
You know what's really
No, it
crazy
doesn't.
is I didn't even know.
I really don't
but
think he
5
likes
years
the
ago,
city of Reno.
Owen Evans and I were in the same stadium, in the same.
We actually were in the same bar at
We
one
were.
point as a rising
not
fan
know him.
was
Did not
as
meet
a
him.
rising fan was
Thank
trying to
goodness.
fight Reno's GM.
Now, Max, doesn't that make you happier?
That's
Or like, were you happier 5 years ago when, you didn't know on? Or are you happier 5 years later when
I
you
mean,
now
here's
know
the
him?
thing. I ended up meeting him, right, 2 years later.
Storybook.
Yeah. So
This is when Max didn't have a desk. He was just kind of like standing out in the corridor at that point.
at the old PHNX studios.
It's true that
can't
you
confirm.
were.
Can't confirm. It was we come a long way. Come a long way.
So what does this have to do with rising against Lexington again, Max?
Max just wanted to brag
Actually, no.
a little bit.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on for a second. They brought it up. Let's make that very clear. They brought it up.
Max
To
Simpson.
answer your question, am I happy that I didn't meet? I mean, I don't know. I met Owen and he's here and can't get rid of him. Probably never will. So what's the
He can't
difference?
get rid of me,
What's the
apparently.
difference if I met him 2 years earlier or not? It makes
Fair
no
enough.
skin off my bones. But yeah, it's crazy. What a world.
Are you happy the casinos are maybe better here than they were in Reno?
Oh gosh,
They're not
I mean,
quite as grotty, are they?
man. Gila River Resorts
You love
Casinos.
your Gila River,
Shout
I
out.
know.
There is no comparison.
There we go.
No comparison.
I know a lot of us were staying in that kind of way, and I believe the team was staying in one of them as well. It was just a bit.
Oh, I know the one you are
grim.
referring to. We will not
Yeah.
name them. Lexington SC. Guys, who on Lexington SC should be the ones to look for in this matchup?
Mr. Epps.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Another former rising guy who's
Oh, and you want to give them the team talk as well? Little
Yeah.
Laman Johnny, the
I
rub
don't think
there.
Epps was that bad.
He
I
wasn't-
think that the thing
if
about
he didn't
Marcus
get shirt
Epps,
to number 20, I think he has
right,
a very
and here's the
different
thing.
time.
I
Fair,
think
it's fair.
that he was very much billed as the guy who was going to come in and replace Solomon Asante,
Yeah.
and that's a lot to
That's
put
a
on
lot.
a player.
Mhm.
Because there were other things that were wrong with that team as well. In the end, they move him on. At the time they move him on, they bring in JJ Williams. So it's not as though they had a poor replacement for him, to be fair. I think JJ Williams looked good in the time that he was here at this club. I didn't think that Epps was that bad. He just wasn't solo.
I mean,
He wasn't-
so few players are.
No, and that's the point.
Yeah.
It was an unfair kind of expectation to put on the shoulders of this guy.
Yes.
Is the way I'd look at it.
I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, I still think if he wore like 11 or 14 or something, it's a much different time. But 20, no, that I didn't like that back then, and I still don't like that then now. But I mean, he's got 3 goals, which leads it in the league, which leads Lexington. He kind of has stepped up. I mean, a couple assists too. Last season in Hartford, I do think off the right side, where Rising can be a little bit shaky, left side of the defense, he could be in for a good game.
I'm sorry, Devon's going off in the chat, and it's kind of irrelevant. But Landon Donovan mentioned USL in the USA post-game show. We are massive. Devon, Landon was coaching in USL 3 years ago.
Coaching.
Yeah, I know. Good.
We use that very loosely.
Mhm. But he was, in theory.
Shout
it was
out Nate Miller.
Miller's team. Shout out Nate Miller. Yeah.
No
Oh.
reason. No reason.
Going back
reason.
to the matchup at hand, Lexington, they're on a bit of a hot streak, a winning streak, dare to say, after they hit a point from March 22nd through June 7th, you're talking, what, about a month and a half or so? Oh, excuse me, 2.5 months. Didn't win a game. Did not win a match, and now they're riding a 3-match winning streak over New Mexico United, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, and in the previously mentioned Brown Exotic Cup over the Richmond
Cup.
Yeah, against the Richmond Kickers. So Lexington, they got on the road twice against USL competition, right? Home twice against USL competition, knocking off New Mexico, who's doing very well, top of the table. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, not quite the same. Phoenix Rising, in between the two, but they're on the road. I mean, Phoenix Rising, they might have a little bit of home field advantage, so to speak. Little fireworks, dare to say.
There's going to be fireworks.
No, there's not going to be
No,
fireworks.
fireworks isn't like the
No,
play,
you're next
the
to an
play on the
airport
pitch.
runway, Max.
No, the play on the pitch. Of course,
That would get you investigated,
Of course,
mate.
there's not
You
going to
don't
be
want any
No, there's
fireworks.
not
You don't
going
want
to
to be like
fireworks.
Vegas.
Literal. I'm
Don't
talking
be
about
Vegas. Don't get an FAA
fireworks
investigation.
on the pitch. Fireworks on the pitch.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Maybe a llama.
Maybe a llama.
Kiddie pools.
Kiddie pools.
Mattresses.
This is in Vegas from
cornhole.
2 years ago. Thank you.
Cornhole. Yeah. What about a PA? No, what about an in-game host that makes misogynistic jibes at players? Vegas did that once. I remember that.
And then
Max
they shut
Simpson?
the lights
Like-
off the second the final
Yo!
whistle was blown.
And yeah, you just had these like police running on with torches in hands on the
Yeah.
field. That's all you could see.
That was
That
mental.
was a
For
disgrace.
no,
That
one,
was
for no one who
something.
That was a
knows
disgrace
what we're
of a
describing,
club.
these are
Brett
all very
Lashbrook's
real
a
things
disgrace for
at
that. I'm sorry.
when you would go to a Las Vegas Lights game, handful of years ago. This is not an hyperbole. This is real.
I miss
Rising
it.
was on the
I
phone
gotta
to
be
the
honest, I
league at
miss it.
halftime. Like, what are we doing here?
All right, once again, me, voice of reason, trying to reel this back
I'm
in.
coming back onto Lexington now, and I want to talk. Can I talk a little bit about this season? I think though,
Yes.
as a whole, I think they've actually been. When you look at this, it's a shame for them that it's taking them so long for things to start to come together, because it's gonna get harder.
Yeah.
And the reason it's going to get harder is because this is the first in a string of 3 games they've got in July in the league. They're going to Phoenix. They're going to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to Sacramento. We're hitting the point now where the reality of Lexington in the Western Conference is starting to kick in. They've actually been quite lucky to this point. Like, I was looking at initially thinking, okay, they've lost some games. They must have been coming west. Well, they drew against Orange County early in the season. They've had a lot of home games so far. They did come to El Paso and lose in April. But then when they have that stretch of like 3 games in a row that they lose, Louisville, Loudoun, and then a home game. But then you've got now these games out west starting to creep up, and you realize that this team has probably the worst, by far, travel schedule in the league because of the sheer distances they have to travel, because of the fact that, no offense to Lexington, they're flying from a 2-bit town with barely any air service. I'm being real. Who flies to Lexington Airport? To where?
No free ads.
Who flies to Bluegrass Airport? I don't even know. I'm just looking now. Where can you get to? I mean,
You more likely would fly probably into Cincinnati's airport and drive to Lexington. That's what I did.
Oh, that's
how far a drive is
Fair.
that, though?
Like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think.
But do you want to do that?
I'm just saying, if you're going there, that's probably why the trek you're taking.
how many geography lessons are we gonna have in this?
Yeah, I don't
in
really
the-
like
in the-
this
in this
anymore.
one pod.
It was
Hang
fun
on a
the
minute.
first
I'm
time.
looking. I'm
Not
looking
anymore.
how long this tells me.
This guy.
I mean,
And it's telling me it's an
It's not
hour and
good content.
17. Yeah, it's fair.
Another thing with Lexington though is they kind of reminded me a lot of El Paso last year. Nothing play style, but both those teams, they brought in a lot of guys that you kind of recognize around the league. Lexington, they got Logan Ketterer, Daniel Barbier,
Molesky. Oh no, he did have him. Yeah,
Speedy Williams is in there as well. A few other guys,
hell of a name.
Corey Burke. But in El Paso had much the same, and they just did not have a good start by any stretch of the imagination, and it's just all fallen down.
Yeah. Here we go. Kevin's suggesting for halftime entertainment, Max versus 11-year-olds in a 5-a-side.
Now, how does that make sense?
I'm imagining it's a 5-a-side pitch. So you play it on like a 5-a-side
They don't want
size
to smoke.
field.
I'll
And it'll be
snatch-
Max
I'll snatch
against
some- I'll snatch some
11-year-olds.
ankles. I don't care.
Max, you'll probably roll your ankle.
I'll show them the golden boot winner. There we go. Well, on this side break, we're going to do some score predictions for this matchup. Don't go anywhere. All right. Well, I'm gonna try to steer us away from all the geography because the only place that you need to know where to visit is the one, the only Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We love Gila River Resorts and Casinos, especially their Wild Horse Pass. They have been host to many of our PHNX events, including PHNX Cardinals Draft, PHNX Cardinals Watch Parties. Damon Dog knows that one. PHNX Suns Watch Parties, and all different fun types of events. Many of our hosts have done a little staycation action. It's just a phenomenal time over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. They have everything, all the amenities from Sheila's Steakhouse to the restaurants, the Oasis summer pool parties. You can achieve the legendary status over at Gila Rivers when you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. I could say visit go to playatgila.com for more details. And you should, but you know what you should also do? Just go on down there yourself. 4 locations throughout the valley. Absolutely fantastic, beautiful facilities, and also just absolutely top-notch people. All of our hosts here at PHNX, every single one of them can absolutely attest to that. So again, Gila River Resorts and Casinos, go check them out today.
No reason now, but do they do hot dogs?
Also, check out our friends over at Bet365. Bet365, we're talking about bets, and, listen, we've talked about hot dog bets. We're talking about all these other things.
Didn't you pick the bullet? You were going for the bullet, and he crashed that first round.
Well,
this guy was
I
back
didn't actually pick it over at Bet365.
At the Bet365 US Darts Masters.
We did. Over at Bet365, it is never ordinary. Again, use promo code PHNX365 upon signing up. Again, to make sure you have all of that fun. You can place your bets, right? Again, people around here, they always come up to me and say, hey, Max, what's that soccer bet that I should be dishing up because you're just so good at betting on.
And you know what it is. Phoenix Rising to win.
Phoenix
Rising to win.
Yeah, give some
plus 100. Friday. It's evens.
Actually,
it's evens. I like that.
I'll take that a lot, actually.
I like that at evens.
I'll take that over at Bet365. Sprinkle a little moolah on it. Again, there's some fireworks. Never ordinary. Again, use that promo code PHNX365 when signing up. Again,
Rising and both teams to score plus 275.
I don't hate that.
I really don't hate that.
I really don't hate that at all. Well, yeah.
Or if you wanted to score draw, you can get that at plus 333.
Yeah, all good things there. Well, of course, with the friends over at 365, terms and conditions to apply. Must be 20 years of physical located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. Score predictions.
Do they do hot dogs?
Well, first off, James Wilson says Max needs to stand up for the darts. I mean, my bet didn't come through because I lost, so I'm not standing up for that.
You picked Stephen Bunce
I would stand up.
Right, let's crack on, boys, because it's getting late. Let's crack on.
You're the one saying the
score prediction. Then we got a little bit on the Club World Cup.
That is hilarious.
Score predictions.
Hilarious. This guy's the worst.
3-1. Rising.
Wow. Max. Classic copying Kevin.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Max.
I'm gonna go 2-1. It's a shaky win, but it's a win.
We're gonna go 1-1.
Dude, this guy's.
I know.
5-0. Rising.
5-0.
I like that.
Wow.
Damon's never seen a Rising game. He doesn't want to.
Margarita's got me.
Kevin 3-1 Rising Margarita goal.
I would like the record to show that I showed more guts when Houston came into town than anybody on this show.
It's true.
And the boys gave it a ride.
You did. You were there.
They did.
You there. You showed out. You supported.
I will say the only reason I've gone 1-1 is because I think they concede 1 goal. I don't think 4-1's realistic. And you boys both took 2-1 and 3-1, so you kind of left me a bit.
You could have.
I'm being different. Being different.
Oh, here we go. I'm different. Oh.
Max, what was your prediction again?
2-1.
Plus 1,800.
We like that. I'm winning money.
He thinks he's doing it.
I don't think I know.
He's going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was halftime.
Could you guys imagine how organized
Plus 850.
and well put together this podcast would be if Max didn't derail it all the time?
I know, it's true.
Sickening.
Right, speaking of which, let's talk now, because we'll ignore Max for the remainder of this show.
Just wait till his next vacation.
Let's have a quick talk about this. The Club World Cup, lots of talk on. It's going to be hot here, of course, for this game this weekend. There's been a lot of talk about the weather in the Club World Cup, be it the heat, be it the thunderstorms delaying play and all of that kind of stuff. And, as someone who's obviously played in a lot of different temperatures, no, not Max, but Pa-Modou Kah, I did ask him what his thoughts were on the current debate and discussion over that. Let's have a listen.
It's the same everywhere around the world. Sometimes you get heat strokes in Europe, don't you? Right? In Euros, there were some heat strokes, right? I don't know why the complaint is. When millions are hitting your bank, you don't complain. So it's very simple. right? That's the beauty of America. You get to go play in different weathers, and everything that happen, right? Can we control it? No. We can't control the weather, can we? But we can control how we represent football, and that's for me is the most important thing, right? Weather's everything else we can't control. I'd rather take the heat, and I come from Norway. Imagine them playing in -20, right? They're gonna complain. If it's 15 degrees, it's too cold. If it's a little bit red, it's good. Let's go on our business. Simple as that. There's a lot of people that struggle more than we talk about heat stroke around the world. Some people don't have homes. Some people are being bombed. Some people don't know where their next meal is coming from. And we complain about the weather. Come on.
We covered geography. We covered weather.
Didn't cover rising though, to be honest.
We did cover rising.
Disproportionately on this.
Forgot about that part.
Yeah.
It's been another episode of the PHNX Rising podcast.
A little early.
I think we're about time. We can start wrapping this up.
No, we can start the PHNX Wrexham podcast
No.
now.
Wait, let's do that. David.
No.
David, our boy Rob Mack. Rob Mack, he makes it, makes the name shorter, makes it cool,
But what's this about Rees that I've been hearing? Something coming up now?
What are you talking about?
All these pictures he had lined
that's
up.
right.
He's forgetting he had all these
I don't like
pictures
this.
I did,
lined
to be
up.
fair.
I don't
These
like-
Rees pictures.
I was scared.
Let's have a look. Oh, look who's back!
He's back. The feeling when you realize you're going to be on the pod. Yeah.
Why the hell's that?
Wait, what's the third one?
Was that the?
Yeah.
that one.
We
that's
love it.
electric. That
Wrexham.
one's
But again, it's
electric.
because Max refuses to show the one of him
Wrexham.
with his massive water bottle.
Uh,
Remember, the picture exists, but he refuses.
The Wilsons don't have it anymore. Sorry.
Max, stop with
They
his
said,
lying.
they said, and I quote, Max, just go ahead and
no,
show the other ones.
Max, what is
Sorry,
this
I got the intel.
fabrication?
Wilson's, please, they can
such a
dispute it in the
liar.
chat if they want, but they.
He's such a bad guy.
That's not true. That's.
I can't remember, to be honest.
I think Max is a bad guy. Don't you think that, Reese? I'm incredibly convinced.
No, he
at this
supports
point.
Wrexham. You can't be a bad guy.
Thank you,
if support Rob Mack's side.
Wrexham. How's it feel to be? You're me looking up at Wrexham, not just ending the table, but I mean, like they're in like a whole entire
Max, you can't look up on anyone.
Buff.
You're wearing a knockoff shirt at the minute, mate.
That's not true.
Wrexham's signing Liverpool players.
Whoa,
We are massive.
big deal, massive club,
Danny Ward.
massive club.
Danny Ward's terrible.
Well, okay, well.
He's not good.
I think someone
I'm
spammed.
sorry,
I think
he's not
someone
good.
spammed the Wilson's account. I think they're now in the chat. Damn it, can we just we can I think that no, we don't have to put it up on screen.
See,
I'm saying we can.
I think Max is a liar. I think Max is a
I don't
straight
know
up
about
liar.
that.
Right, that's another episode of the PHNX Rising podcast. Now it's time to wrap it
still
up.
a hair early.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Damon,
Just
anything
remember.
you want to say on the beloved Wrexham?
I just think, big summer window ahead of us right now. Looking like the budget, 40 million, cold hard American cash. I can't wait to spend it all. And up the Wrexham.
Up there, Wrexham is a club for the people.
We shouldn't have let Paul Mullen go, though.
Oh,
that just breaks my
mighty
heart.
Paul.
Well, it's like I said
Breaks
to
my
you.
heart.
It's like I said to you last week, Max.
Yeah.
Key under the mat for Paul Mullen.
That's fair.
When he wants to come home, captain, leader,
A
legend,
ball of your finest champagne on
Welsh
on
Deadpool.
the ready.
Paul Mullen.
On the ready. All right,
I
and
love
now
this
this has
club.
been another episode of the PHNX Rising podcast. Make sure to follow us at PHNX underscore Wrexham. I mean PHNX underscore Rising.
Right,
Double
cut this guy's
underscore.
mic. Cut this guy's mic.
He's not gonna do that.
Cut this guy's mic.
He's on.
Don't make me go over there and
Double the
physically pull the
underscore.
XLR out. Double the Max. Stop it. Let's finish the show.
Double the Wrexham. You
No.
can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You
But
can
don't,
follow
because you don't want to.
Follow Reese on Twitter at Reese11_. You can follow Damon Dog at Damon DAWG.
I'm at OJ Evans 18 actually.
At
doing
OJ
stuff.
Evans Wrexham.
No.
And of course, appreciate it, everyone. We'll be
Max,
back
you
on the
owe
pod.
you owe a polar pop
We're
cup
back
as well.
Wednesday.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He doesn't follow through with anything.
That's true.
He doesn't follow through
quite
with
literally have a
anything.
tattoo. I quite literally have a tattoo.
Shameful.
I have a
You know
tattoo.
what?
How long did
Do
it
it
take?
for the partners,
Like
man.
I
6
did it.
months?
I did it. I did it.
Almost half a year, Max.
I did.
He did it on the very last show before the season
Made it
started.
happen.
You did like the last minute.
Made it happen.
Wait, we're getting Vardy?
Yo, that's crazy. Vardy party. Well, yeah. Here's
This
more.
club has never been more on top.
Here's to more shenanigans. This time, 6 p.m. next week. It's a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful when you got the whole crew together. We're talking a little bit of Rising. It's mainly weather. It's mainly geography. And it's a whole lot of Wrexham. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.